Hi, Digital Arts. We're doing part two of photo manipulation. And in this video, we're going to be looking at the hue and saturation menu, and that's about it. So I know some of you don't know what hue and saturation um, is defined as. So in a little bit later in the tutorials, we'll actually define each of those words. But for now, we're just going to work with the menu itself. Go ahead and go into Pixlr, and you noticed that included in the assignment today were two images of eyes. We're going to start with eye 1, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this eye color. So what's really cool about Pixlr and graphic programs is that you could change the color of anything. So let's say you have a photo of yourself with a shirt that's green, and you decide that you don't want that green shirt, you look much better in purple. Well, it's really, really easy to change the color of anything, and I'm going to show you how to right now. So we're going to go ahead and go up to the marquee tool, because what we want to change is that eye color. The easiest way to do that is to go ahead and select the eye. So one thing that some of you figured out and we didn't really focus on before is how to zoom in so that you can see more detail. So if I pull this menu out, you see that it pulls the frame out, but it's not really doing anything to the picture. So I'm going to go into the navigator here, and you see little mountains and big mountains. That basically just means zoom in and zoom out. And if I move this, I can zoom right into the image or zoom out. If I zoom in really far and say I want to work on another part of the image that's up here, I could scoot these bars around, but that's really time consuming and annoying. What's even easier is just going into the navigator and moving that red box around. So what you want to do is go ahead and zoom right in so that you can see the full colored portion of the iris. And because this is a round shape, we're going to use the elliptical marquee tool. So just like with the coins, we're going to picture this as a box around. And I'm going to go right in the corner of that box to start my selection. So I probably want to go a little bit further out. Might take a little bit of practice again if you forgot. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want to use the wand tool because you can see all the different colors of blue in there. You don't want to use the lasso because that's going to be time consuming. Doesn't matter that it's black and white, and you'll see in a moment why. So the way you get into the hue and saturation menu is you go up into the menu bar, and you want to go up to adjustments and hue and saturation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this menu off to the side just a little bit so that I can actually see my image while I'm transforming it. And if I move the hue around, you can see automatically that it starts changing the color. So that's pretty neat, right? Let's say I want a purple eye. Saturation changes how intense that color is. So I can lessen the saturation to the point where it's basically black and white and removes all color, or I can pull it upwards and really intensify that color. Lightness obviously makes it lighter or darker, whichever one you want. So once you've done that, you can hit OK. Go ahead and deselect, and you now have a different colored eye. So that's all we're going to do with I1. You can go ahead and save it as I1 practice or however you want to save it so that you have an original and a copy. Now we're going to do I2. This one we're going to start off in the same way. We're going to zoom in. We're going to use the marquee, elliptical marquee. Select as much of the eye as you can. If you need to, this one, Yeah, it's going to be too much to try to do the wand tool. So, oops, went a little too far. And just not, there we go. That's much better. So you see how I actually grabbed a little bit more than I need. Remember, you can subtract from your selection by holding control, and you see that little minus sign, and I'm going to go ahead and subtract some of that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't really want to mess too much with the skin. So get as much of that as you can out. All right, so now what do? We're going to go up to adjustments, we're going to hit hue and saturation, and if you start playing with the hue, you notice nothing happens. That's because it's a black and white image. So how do we turn a black and white image into color? One way is to check mark this colorize box here, and you can instantly see color. And again, you can kind of see how it does change the highlight of the eyes. So if you wanted to, you could use the magic wand to subtract that highlight in there. And any highlights, you could even subtract the black pupil. Oops. Let's get a little bit cleaner like that. All right, so now we're going to go colorize. You can change the eye color again to any color you want. Deselect it. And that's pretty much it. So again, we'll go ahead and save it. Attach both of these into Google Classroom, and that's it for this tutorial.